Okay, so let's finish up the torso. And then neck and pelvis next. So I'm going to hit 6 so I can see all my textures and stuff. And bring up my wireframe unshaded, and I can check it out. And yeah, I'd expect him to be a bit rounder. For some reason, he's kind of rounder in the side view than he is in the front view. So that's something to tweak. And then we don't really have a back reference, so we're going to have to kind of figure that one out on our own. But next step is the collar. So let's get that collar done. So the first thing I do before I want to move on to the colors is we've got all these triangles, and I don't really want to deal with the triangles. So I'm going to remove all these edges. And so I'm going to right mouse click, go to vertex. I'm going to select that middle vert. I'm going to convert that to edges with Control F10. And then when you delete edges, you should always use Control Delete. So I'm going to go Control Delete. And I have one big giant face now, which isn't great. So now I'm going to cut it up. So time to get the multi-cut tool. First time for the multi-cut, I think. So I'm going to go Mesh Tools, Multi-Cut. And basically I want to cut it into 4s. So I'm just going to click and click. And then I'm going to hit Enter. And then I'm going to do the same for the sides. And I want to just check. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so that's the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And Enter. And then I want everything to be quads. So I'm going to cut again front to back. And I'm going to hit Enter. And then do the same for the next row. And hit Enter. And now everything is quad. So this face here, if I hit Q to exit the tool, that is a quad, right? Because you count the number of sides. So if I count the number of edges, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 edges. So that's a 4-sided. And I'm going to do the same on the other side, just why not? So I'm going to hit Y, just reuse last tool, and that allows me to do more multi-cuts. And I'm doing this to there, and I think that's good, right? Yep. Enter, and I'm out. So Q. So that's what I want to see on the top, and then we'll eventually do the same thing for the bottom. We don't want to keep all these weird triangles to the bottom. Okay, so now I'm ready to do the collar. So I'm going to select all these faces, and what I can do is I can go to edge here, and I should be able to click that edge and then hold down shift and double click that edge, and it'll pick all the edges in between. So you don't have to do edge loops. You don't have to double click to go all the way around. If I click this edge and then double click that edge, it will do only the edges between, which is pretty handy. So again, 1, shift double click, convert that to faces. So that's going to be Control F11, and that converts my selection to faces. So that's faster than doing face 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then having to look to see if you made any mistakes and select it through. I can just go to edge, click, shift double click, Control F11, and I'm done. Okay, so now I'm going to do an extrude. So edit mesh, extrude. By now hopefully you know the hotkey is Control E. And I get the universal manipulator. I don't really need to see that, so I'm just going to hit R, which is my regular old scale tool, and I'm just going to scale that in, and that's going to give me thickness. So we've been here before. We did this for the coffee cup. So that's the thickness, and then guess what? I need to make a hole, the opening for his neck to fit in. So I'm going to do another extrude. So that's going to be G is a hotkey to redo the last action, which was an extrude, or you can use Control E as a hotkey, or you can go edit mesh extrude, or you can use a button, and I think that's my extrude button. I made a button on my custom shelf. And again, I don't need to really see the universal manipulator, so I'm going to hit W, and I'm just going to drag that straight down. And we don't really need to go too far. Really depends on how far in we're going to see in his collar. So we do see the inside of his collar a little bit because his neck doesn't fill the space. So, you know, I want to go down a little bit, and we can adjust that after. So now that I've got it down about that far, I'm just going to hit delete. It's going to remove those faces, and I'm left with a nice hole for Homer's neck to stick into. Cool. So I got a bit of thickness, and I've wrapped it around. So let's pop in the front, because what I need from the front view, if I x-ray, so got to go to object mode, and I'm going to x-ray the geo. You can see his collar dips down here. So it does come around and then drop, and then the collar flips open. collars are really hard to do, as ours are lapels for suit jackets. Very difficult, I find. So what I'm going to do is I'm getting confused now because we've adjusted the back and I can see the back edges. And so all I really want to work on is the front of this geometry. So I don't want to see the back faces. So there's a command called backface culling, and all of the faces that don't face towards the camera, Maya doesn't draw, it removes them. Not physically, it just doesn't draw them on the screen. So I'm gonna, in object mode, I'm gonna have this geo selected, and I'm gonna go to display polygons, and the very first command is backface culling. And this is something we're gonna want to turn on and off a lot. So again, it's best if you make a button for this on your custom shelf. So if you hold down Shift and Control and click, you will make a button called the BC button for backface culling. I already have one, so I'm just going to select this one. I'm going to right mouse click and delete it because I don't need two. So there's the backface culling button, and I'm going to hit it. And what happens when you do it, you can see that it looks like it's a cleaner mesh, but what you're actually doing is you're just removing all of the rear facing faces. So all of the faces on his back disappear, become transparent. So now it's much easier to see what's going on here when I want to model this collar. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to right mouse click and go to vertex, and I need to make some space. So these will move down, as will these, and I may as well do it on the other side to keep a bit of symmetry. And maybe do the next ones over. And then that's about right, I guess. And then I'm going to take this middle point and just drag it down. And it looks kind of gross, and that's okay. Probably because I left behind a point. So if we go to the inside here, it's going to be a bit weird. So maybe I'll turn the backface culling off. So I got to go to object mode, hit your BC button, and then look. And it's also because it's X-rayed. So what I'm missing is this vertex right here. So let me grab that one and drag that down as well. Okay, and then let's pop back in the front. And not bad, I guess. It kind of matches on one side, not much on the other. Again, we can go to object mode. I can un-X-ray him, so Control 0, and then I can backface cull to see what's going on, and then I can X-ray him again if I want. And at least it's something. And if I hit 3, I mean, I'm going to lose a lot of that, but that's okay. We're going to anchor it and put some more geo in there. Should be a bit better. But so far so good. Maybe just grab these and drag them down a bit further. So, you know, not great, but not bad. So we've at least got the feature model in. Okay, so back to 1. And let's move these out of the way because I didn't quite have enough room there. I just move these out a bit as well to straighten the edge loop. So I'm scaling these away from each other, kind of straighten the edge. And yeah, it's all right. Cool. Let's maybe pull these down a bit too. Gotta be careful because those I think are the tops of the, yeah, they are. They're the tops of the arms, so I don't really want to move those down too much because that's where the shoulders are going to come out, but maybe a little bit. Let's bring these down then as well. And then I'll move these down so that I keep the proportions right. And I forgot to turn the backface culling off, so what I've actually done, if I go to object mode and on backface cull, you can see now I can see the loops on the other side, because when I was marqueing, I wasn't selecting the character's right side. But that's okay, because we're going to eventually get rid of the character's right side. So on X-ray, Control 0, and it looks a bit weird. Also probably needs to move a bit forward, so let's check that in the side view. Yeah, we've lost a bit of the volume there, so let's grab these points. Make sure you grab that one as well. And we should probably pull those out. And the one below it. that one. Okay. Coming along, coming along. Let's grab these two, 4. There we go. Okay. So neck hole and the sort of V cut in the front of his neck done. And yeah, there's a lot of adjusting to do, but let's leave that. So again, this is about a 10-minute video, so we'll leave it there, and then when we come back, we'll do the pelvis. So yeah, so object mode, I'll delete the history again. Delete by type history. I don't really worry about the wireframe, and I'm going to save scene as, and this is going to be the Model 3, and this is going to be torso still as well, so we'll save that as, and stop the